What's going on, guys? Andre Hagel Jr. here from Client Ascension, back with another student spotlight interview. And we're making history with this one because we've had Ayman on before, and now he's the first ever repeat guest on the show for good reason. And so, welcome back, bro. Good to have you here again.
Yep. Thank you for having me, bro.
Well, thank you for doing this today. I know today's the first day of Ramadan, so I know you're currently in a fast. And so, bro, if you need any energy, hopefully my tone and my energy from the other side can pour into you. But appreciate you being here. So catch us up. I think last time we had an interview is on my YouTube channel. So for people watching, if you want to see Ayman going from 0 to, I believe it was around 30 or 40K a month with your design agency, go watch that video. What happened since then? I think it's been 6 or 7 months since we did that interview. I know you've more than doubled your MRR since then. Kind of walk us through what you've been up to, dude. Obviously a lot.
Yeah. So basically, last time we did that interview was around February or March 2023. And today, as we're recording this, it's March 11th, 2024. So
Oh, wow. It's been that long, dude?
It's been like a year. Yeah. So
oh my God.
basically, yeah, I joined Client Ascension December 17th. I had one client. And then when we did that interview in March, I had, I don't know, like 8 clients or something. I was doing like 15K a month, something like that. And I was doing basically short form content for all of my clients, except we had one YouTube client, right? And then what changed since then was I actually had a pretty bad month right after we did that interview. So in April, I went from like 15 to like 10K a month because I was pivoting from selling short form content to mainly focusing on YouTube. Because what I realized was like, one thing Daniel talks about is it's really important to offer like ROI to your clients. And with short form, I was targeting B2B agencies. You know, it was tough to get them ROI, like not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
So I switched from being more this productized dude selling short form to really focusing on giving people an ROI. So I went for a bit of a down month. It took like 1.5 months to really switch everything. And then I was losing motivation. Everything felt like it was going bad. I was churning clients. And then finally landed like 3 clients on the same week after a huge drought, and 2 of them paid in full, which was the good part. And then it really just skyrocketed from there.
Yeah.
So that's the
So
catch
let me
up.
ask you, it's a big change, right? Like to pivot the offer from short form to YouTube, but in the moment you knew it was a change you needed to make. And so I've been faced with a lot of these decisions as well, where I know revenue is going to drop in the short term, but it's a short term sacrifice for longer term growth, right? But even though you know going into it that, yeah, I'm going to take a dip, but it's okay because eventually it's going to go back up. When you are in that dip phase, it's not as easy to just say, oh, yeah, we'll be fine. Like we're going right back up pretty soon here. Don't worry. So talk us through what that was like. If you knew going into it, you'd see a dip. And even though you knew it was for longer term gains, how did you play with that mindset, like the warring mindset of, yeah, this is what's supposed to happen, but at the same time, I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, so it was really scary, not even gonna lie. It was just a drought where we didn't sign a client for, I don't know if it was 60 days or something, but it was super scary and I didn't know it was gonna happen. I thought, oh, I would switch and then right away it would work super well. And what actually happened was I switched from doing short form to selling, like it was this weird offer that was like 8K a month where it was like, I'll do your emails, I'll do your short form, I'll do your YouTube, I'll do like all of this stuff and their Twitter and LinkedIn. It was like too much. And I was pitching it at like 8K a month. And then I'm just some kid with no case studies on 8K offer. Obviously, it's not going to work. So then I was pushing that for like a month, and then the leads really dried up. And then I almost quit. I almost switched to like drop shipping or something. But then I was like, you know what, man? Let me just push through it a little bit longer. I ended up going on like a trip to Mexico with my friends to like clear my mind a bit. And then I came back. I was like, all right, let's give this one last like good push. And then after 3 weeks, it really worked out. But it was definitely scary, but I knew it was a change I had to make.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So do you think if you weren't to make that offer pivot, you would have been able to scale to where you're at today?
Definitely not. No.
Yeah.
When I was doing short form content only, I wanted to like pull my hair out a little bit. So in our prime, I was doing 12 shorts per day for clients or something like that. And I was only making, well, only is relative because I guess it's still good money, but I was only making 12K a month. It was like the ratio of how much shorts I was doing to how much money I was bringing in wasn't there. And we were like a two-man team or like a three-man team.
Wow.
It was brutal. So if I didn't make that pivot, like I probably would have plateaued at 20K or something.
Yeah, dude. It is so interesting because even with our agency and our businesses like Client Ascension, and we just saw it with ListKit, we just made a big offer pivot. But we've done that with Client Ascension before. We did it multiple times when we were scaling the agency. A lot of times it's an offer problem. Even though you solve the offer problem in the beginning, you can eventually come back to having an offer problem because the offer that gets you from 0 to 10K will be different than the offer that gets you from 10K to 50K. And then that offer from 50K to 100K is going to be different. So with our agency, it was like pay per call to start. And then it became pay per call and retainer. And then it became just retainer, which was like a low ticket retainer. It was very productized. And then it was a high ticket retainer. So the offer continued to evolve to support the next level of growth. And so it's really cool to hear that you've also gone through the offer evolution since right back in April, you said last year when you made that change to the offer. Has there been any new changes since?
So honestly, no, I literally been just ripping the same thing. So obviously when I switched that stupid 8K offer, but then after that, I switched to this new YouTube offer, which is like, we'll add 10 to 30 qualified calls every single month through YouTube. And then I
Yep.
was offering 4 videos a month, basically was the deliverable. And we've literally stuck with it. The only other change we did is like we reintroduced short form content again. So now 75% of our revenue is from YouTube stuff, and then 25% is from short form. So we added it back.
Yep. So instead of offer evolution is building out the offer ecosystem, right? Giving or just having more products to be able to offer these people that you've already sold to. So yeah, dude,
Mhm.
it's so cool to hear someone else going through this growth in these different phases in business because it becomes the same things that we're doing at our businesses. So I'm excited to see how that continues for you. So you've been in Client Ascension since you started the agency, essentially. When you first joined, were you at zero or where were you at exactly revenue wise?
Yeah, so basically what happened was I was at zero, and then on November 25th, 2022, I joined Internet Money, which is your guys' low ticket community. And then from there, I got my first client in 23 days. So like December 17th, I got a pay in full for 6K for 3 months.
Wow.
And then the deliverables were 4 YouTube videos a month and 90 shorts per month. My margin wasn't the best, but 6K paid in full, I took it. And then right away, I joined Client Ascension with that money. Obviously it was more, or yeah, anyways, I joined with that money. I used it because I didn't really have any money in my bank account. So I used that to join. So I joined Client Ascension December 26th. I've been inside since then.
Unreal. Okay. And so when you first joined, it was basically from zero. And so you got past the 10K. That was obviously like the first milestone, which is really cool. But you've been in the program for a long time compared to the average student. And so right now the average student will join, they'll hit their goal, and then they'll just leave, which I think is stupid because I could do case studies of the exact opposite fashion, which is guys who joined Client Ascension left and then their businesses tanked, but obviously I don't want to do that. I think it would be pretty good content, but I don't know that
Yeah.
I could get someone to come on and do a case study about how their business tanked after they left Client Ascension. But anyways, you decided to stay in the program. And now I forget what the wins post was because you're in Canada, so the revenue is always different because of conversion. But what was the revenue level you just recently hit?
Yeah, so last month in US dollars, we did 93.5K.
Sheesh, bro. So you already passed that 7 figure run rate, and now you're almost at the 6 figure a month MRR, which is super exciting. Are you projecting to hit that in March? Do you know?
Yeah, definitely this March we're gonna push for it. There's like a small chance, like just because I'm fasting, I might get like a bit tired or a bit lazy with
Yeah.
it. So like at maximum it'll be April, but I'm really pushing to do it this month.
Yeah. And so what does that look like now? Because in the beginning, 0 to 10K, you're kind of just grinding, you're figuring out what all this stuff means, how business works. Like you said, it was just you and two people. How does your day to day and even just your time in Client Ascension and what you do in the community look differently than, let's just say, a year ago when I was interviewing you on one of these?
Yeah, so my time in the community, it's changed in a sense of where when I started out, I was joining like every single coaching call, and I was also just really trying to connect with people a lot. And that was super good, and I really think everyone should do that. Join every call, just listen in, and then ask super precise but concise questions, and then don't ramble too long. Because obviously there's only 1 hour in a coaching call, right? So if you just take up like 30 seconds, everybody will be very appreciative of that, and then you'll catch people's attention, right?
Hmm.
So ask good questions in coaching calls, and then be active in the community, connect with people, just hop on calls and shoot the stuff. And that's what it looked like before. And then now what's happened is I would say once I reached maybe 30, 40, 50, 60K a month, like somewhere around there, I switched. Like I wouldn't join the coaching calls too much anymore. It's just more like, oh, okay, like I have something to ask. Okay, let me join Andre's operations call, ask my question, maybe hang around for a bit and then leave and go implement it. So I would be just a bit more cautious with my time. And this is still good because I join, get my question answered, I leave, it's all
Yeah.
good. And so number one, I just joined less coaching calls, but whenever I do have a question, I hop in. So that's one thing I do differently now. And then number two is I honestly I'm just still doing the same thing now that I think about it. I just text people, join calls when I need to, leave right away, and I'm just still using it the same way.
Yeah, I love that, bro. But like you said, you're more picky, and obviously the biggest difference is the questions you're asking, right? The questions you had when you were at 5K trying to get to 10K are different than now that you're at 93K trying to get to 100K plus. And so that's the biggest difference, if we're being honest. And I'm sure you've recognized this and noticed this as well. Like the coaches are well equipped to answer those types of questions because, for the most part, they've all achieved those revenue levels in their own businesses and are still running those same businesses today, which is where their expertise is being pulled from. The nice thing about Client Ascension is we have the coaching program, we have the agency, and we have the software. And like combined collectively, we're doing $600,000, $700,000 months. And so pretty much up to that revenue level, we can help you and answer any questions you have, which is really cool because that gives us a lot of runway to help people. So it's always interesting to see someone go from like 0 to 10K and then just dip out. It's like, where are you going, bro? Are you happy with just 10K a month? So that's actually a question is like your goal in the beginning was probably get to 10K a month and you'll be chill. And now you're sitting at 93K a month and I know you're still not happy. And so how do you kind of deal with like it's never enough? And I have an answer for this too, obviously, because I'm in the same seat you are, but what does that feel like? Did you anticipate once you got there you'd be happy and then you weren't, or where are you at with that?
Yeah, so my original anticipation when I started was that, okay, I'm going to reach 20, 30K a month in 6 months or max 1 year. And then I'll move out and I'll be like happy, like baseline happy, but I'm still going to want more. I always knew I would want more, but that like sort of 20, 30K a month initial goal, that was really what I thought would make me move out and do all this cool stuff. Funny enough, so 93K a month, I still live in my parents' house. I got my bed in the background and nothing has really changed lifestyle wise other than like, okay, maybe I'll travel a little bit more. But in terms of answering your question, how do I deal with always wanting more? I don't know. I just always want more money and I think it's never going to end. It's just going to be it. It's going to be my new thing.
Yeah, bro. I feel the same way. I'm always like, well, once I get here, I'll be good. Or once I my thing now is once I exit for this amount, I'll be good. But I'm kind of fooling myself still because yeah, once I get there, it's gonna be okay. What's the next thing? And my grandpa's an entrepreneur, so I grew up around a lot of successful entrepreneurs that had a lot of wisdom just from their years in business. And he always said entrepreneurs are like they're always chasing their own tail, and they're never gonna catch it, and that's just part of the game. But also looking for bigger reasons. Like, do you have bigger reasons as to like why you're trying to grow the business, or for you is it really just like revenue?
Yeah, so it's really just like obviously I want to retire the my parents. That's going to be one of my goals this year. Definitely on track for that. Other than that, I guess just move out and have a chef, have a maid, all that stuff. And
Yeah,
then in terms of going one level deeper than that, I guess I definitely want to build mosques and schools and donate that type of stuff. That's one huge goal of mine as well. But then other than that, really just want a nice crib. I'm like a super simple guy. Like, that's
yeah,
pretty much
I
it.
like that, bro. I like that. And I guess another big part, at least for me, that comes into play is the team, right? Like it's so much more fun to build and win, especially like sharing wins with team members is probably a lot more fun than, at least it was for me, than just having the win to myself and just being happy for myself. And so now when we win and we get to share it across our team, we have 60 plus people working with us across the different businesses. That's what I look forward to most. And it's funny because entrepreneurs, CEOs, whatever, like business owners, they're free and that's why they got into it is because they want to work for themselves. But now it's at a point where, dude, I feel like I work for all my employees, my team members. Like what drives me to work as hard as I do and to set goals as high as I do is so that the team can benefit. And obviously, they're the ones also going out and doing the work and benefiting from their own work. But that's a huge motivation that wakes me up in the morning is I got to show up for my team today. And so how has that changed for you? Because again, you were talking about how it was just you and two people. And now I know you have, even more people on your team and you're always asking about the next hire. So how has that changed for you?
Yeah, so now we have 12 team members right now. And basically we have our core four like admin team, and then after that we have the rest of the team which we still talk with them every single day. And it's been super fulfilling. I agree with what you say because we've had three editors so far. One of them he moved out and he got a car. One of them he like got a car, and then the other one he's just been helping like his family with stuff. Just seeing sort of my impact and what I do is super cool. That's one thing I realized is I really like seeing the impact of my money because like to me it's okay, the money is going up, revenue is going up, but when I see somebody actually use the money or when I use money, that's one thing I really like seeing. Just it turns into something real. So yeah, seeing my team win is definitely fulfilling.
Yeah. That's number one for me, bro, is just team, just getting other people involved. It's just so much more fun to win as a team than it is to win on your own. And it's also more likely. I don't think you can scale to the levels that you're at if you're just building on your own still. It's very difficult to do and it's not very sustainable. So it's cool to see now you're building an actual business, you're building an actual company that can operate as a set of systems and processes rather than, hey, if Ayman shows up today or if Ayman doesn't show up. So how has Client Ascension helped you with that part of it specifically, like the operations, the hiring, building team? What have you learned from the program or from the Kajabi modules that we have on the onboarding and hiring and systems and processes that you've implemented directly in the business?
Yeah, so what I'll say is basically everything I know, like majority of it stems from Client Ascension. So like hiring, onboarding, all that stuff, I wouldn't be where I am today without it. Like before I joined Client Ascension, my onboarding for my first client was a mess. It was the most disgusting thing ever. I don't even know why he's still paying me. And so the onboarding, getting that smooth, getting those the scorecards. Like I never heard of employee scorecards before I went through your Kajabi module, and really just overall learning how to systemize the business while also getting leads in. That's what I learned from you guys.
That's awesome, bro. Yeah, the onboarding is everything, dude. It's like the first impression. And it's not just with clients, but it's also with team members. And that was like my biggest breakthrough in business. And that also allowed me to understand how to teach these things to students. The way I look at onboarding a client is the same way I look at onboarding a team member. Even if you peel it back to like, how do you attract that person in the first place? You have to make a good offer, not just for your product, but also for whatever job you're looking to fill. The offer has to be good. It has to stand out amongst every other lead gen agency that's hiring an inbox manager, every other creative agency that's hiring an editor. Why should they want to be your editor and not this other agency's editor that has Iman Godzi as a client, right? And so the offer is so important. And then sourcing the talent, right? You have to look in the right places. Same way you have to run ads in the right places or post content to the right places to find your ideal customers. And so everything from like literally the offer to the onboarding experience and keeping them around longer and ascending them into higher roles. It's so crazy, like the parallels between hiring people and signing clients and how similar they are. Another question for you, Eamon, is now that you have a team of 12 people, what does your day to day look like? What are you doing on a daily basis to continue to grow this agency to 100K and beyond?
Yeah, so in terms of my day to day, I'm still like in the weeds a little bit, but it's more just like intentional. I could probably get out, but I like having that touch with my clients. You know what I mean? One thing I still do is we're ramping up our copywriters. So I'm still quality checking video scripts. That's one thing I do pretty commonly. And then also checking videos sometimes, make sure everything is good, like quality wise. And other than that, it's really just sales calls and then also just like looking at my CRM. Okay, who do I still need to reach out to? Who haven't I talked to in a while? And then also other things I do is just think. That's one thing as well. I just think, okay, how am I going to get to the next level? What is my week going to look like? And so, yeah, that's like a broad eagle eye view of the day to day.
Love it, bro. And I guess what is the next thing you're focused on, right? To get to 100K and beyond, what do you think is the biggest hurdle you have to jump over, or the biggest focus for you right now?
Yeah, so I guess getting to 100K for me, number one, is going to be increasing the lifetime value of the customer. because I have a lot of clients who are doing YouTube stuff for, and I know they would kill it with short form. And it's just like getting them over the edge, just get them to sign with short form and then get the
Yep.
results. So that's definitely one thing because you don't always have to like pump more clients. It's like
Oh, it's
you can up
increasing LTV, you're saying, getting more the
exactly.
people to just increase the value, right? If you have 100
Yeah.
customers, because Hormozy talks about this in $100 million offers. Like the way you grow revenue is you get more customers, you get those customers to pay you more, and you also get them to stay longer. That's it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, so that's I'm pretty much right now working more on the LTV and get them to stay longer side of things. And then I
Mm.
feel on the acquisition side of things, it's like pretty good. I just did the stuff I learned in Client Ascension. I get all my clients through inbound pretty much. So I know you guys talk a lot about cold email, but the stuff I learned from you guys about inbound marketing really helped a lot. So I get most of my leads from Twitter, YouTube, and then networking and referrals. And that's just been what's killing it right now.
And I would say, just knowing you, a lot of your inbound is outbound in a way, meaning you're one to really take initiative. Yeah, you might have someone that comes to you from Twitter, but a lot of the times you're the one reaching out to them saying, "Hey, like I'd love to do your YouTube." And although it's not cold outreach, and you do this in Client Ascension as well, you're not afraid to sell or to pitch your services to the right people. And I think that's huge. You're not afraid to ask. I think a lot of people that have the inbound or they have the organic following, but they never ask. They never make a call to action. And they, as a result, don't get anything from their audience. And so that's one thing I learned from Daniel really early on. It's funny, if you go back all the way back to like the first podcast we've ever had with Daniel, this was before we even were business partners on anything. I asked him literally on the live interview, dude, like, I have this Twitter account, it's growing. I get a lot of engagement, I get a lot of DMs. I'm kind of going the Gary V route where I'm just not going to sell them anything for the next 10 years. They're going to love me. And he's like, dude, you're dumb. Put a call to action or a course or some form of a paid product on your Twitter page now. And I was like, well, I don't really have anything. And then I started thinking, maybe I could turn these inbox manager trainings into a swipe file. And then that's how the vault started. We ended up partnering with Daniel on that specifically. And so it was just funny how that all came to be. But yeah, like you're not afraid to sell, which I think is
Yeah.
is a testament to your belief in the products and the work that you can do. Would you say?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And another thing I do is free work. I think that's one of the best ways to get clients. So it's, yeah, I'll reach out to people. I even reached out to you one time. I'm like, hey, boom, here's this video
Yeah.
script. Do you want to record? So that was one thing as well, which I learned from Daniel in Client Ascension. So yeah, I'm definitely not afraid to ask. I'll just wait till somebody tells me, hey, I don't want this. And then it's okay, cool. I'll let them be.
Yeah, I love that. I remember you used to do that pretty heavily, especially in the beginning. Your outreach was really consistent, especially on Twitter. You do the free, I think, short at the time, and now I'm sure
Yeah.
it's more like a free YouTube. For me, you did a free YouTube video outline. You literally did the
Mhm.
entire thing for me, and so yeah, I think that's a great way to get people in and to get them interested is lead with value rather than just straight up selling them your services. But I just loved I've always loved and admired just how ruthless, not ruthless, but how like adamant you are about pitching your services to people. And like if no one else is gonna do it, then the opportunity's there. So taking advantage of that, which is huge.
Yep.
I guess another question here is you're in Client Ascension. Obviously, you see all the students that are in there. I think we just ran the end of month report for February, and obviously, you won the revenue crown. So, congrats on that. For the month
Thanks.
of February, we had 93,000 in MRR or just in monthly revenue in that month. And then the average out of the 72 people that filled it out, we just passed $1 million across all 72 students. And so, I think the average was 14 or 15K a month. And so speaking to Ayman at 14 or 15K a month, what advice would you give him to get to where you're at today in half the amount of time that you did?
Yeah, great question there. So what I would say is aiming at 15K a month, he needs to like just dial in his offer. Don't focus on jacking up the price, charging as much as you can. Like charge for what you're worth and then just go ram free work. Number one, do more free work. And then, or I guess the first thing is get the offer right and charge the right price. Number two, do more free work. And then number three is like, this one's funny, is just like work more hours and try harder. I think a lot of people, they think they're scrambling around, they're doing all this work, but then if they track their time, like what you teach in Client Ascension, you know, they do the 72-hour task audit, like they did nothing. So it's definitely doing those task audits as well as a game changer. I would say those are like the three most important things. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just ask yourself at the end of the day, what did I get done today? What did I accomplish? Oh, I was doing a bunch of this and a bunch of that. So nothing, literally nothing. If you can't like answer that question so specifically at the end of every single day, then you probably weren't productive or effective. And so, yeah, like it's funny you mention it. Like the task audits are so important, bro. So important. And like I know that they're important, but I even need the reminder that they're important. And so I was at this mastermind the other week in Colorado with Taylor Welsh. We paid 45 grand to be in this mastermind. And I'm going there expecting to learn a bunch of new secrets that are not, anywhere else on the internet. And like a big part of the presentation was to do a task audit and like how to approach the task audit and why you should do it and what do you do once you do it. And it was amazing. Like I'm so happy with the value that I received from the mastermind and the way that it was taught and in the Q&A sessions that we got with Taylor. I just thought it was funny that like a lot of times, a lot of people waste time looking for like a secret answer or like a hack that never existed in the first place rather than doing the thing that's right there in front of them that they know they need to do. And so task and time audits is just one of those things that you'll continue to come back to. And I think it's another great point is like with the offer. If you're grinding lead gen and you're sending a bunch of outreach, doing a bunch of content, and nobody's buying from you, what does that tell you about your offer? You should
Yeah.
probably change it. Right. And that's also what you noticed. Maybe you weren't having difficulty selling it as much, but you were having difficulty fulfilling to the point where the client was getting the value. And so you noticed the problem there. And so what you do about it? You changed it because you knew it wasn't an offer you could scale with. If you're already having issues at 10K or 15K, what is that going to look like at 93K? Obviously, you're probably not even going to be able to get there to find out. So I just think it's cool. Like you have a great pulse on everything that's happening in the business. And so I just want to, again, give you a shout out for that because a lot of business owners really just have no idea what's going on. They're just showing up every single day and just kind of being reactive to everything that's happening.
Yeah, I want to go back to your point where you said like everything, you learned this task audit from the mastermind, but really you already knew the task audit. So it's like you didn't learn something new, but you just got reminded, right? So that's one super important thing is sometimes you need to be reminded more than you're taught. That's someone's quote. I just stole it. So task audits, send free work, work more hours, and then also just take a step back sometimes and do an eagle eye view on the business. Look at your task audit, look at your lifetime value and your churn and like figure out what is going on.
Yeah, bro. And Ayman, what would you say, like, if you're taking a step back, eagle eye view, what are some metrics that you're really measuring consistently? I'm sure you're looking at MRR. I'm sure you're looking at number of cold emails sent or number of YouTube videos posted, number of calls booked. Like, what are some of those leading indicators that you're looking at or measuring across the business?
Yeah, so the number one indicator I look at is revenue because that just gives me a summary of how everything is going. I compare it to the previous month. So that's always number one I look at. And then number two is I look at churn because I believe I mean, this is true. If, less churn you have, more money you're going to make because you're going to stack more clients. So I look at churn. It gives you a good pulse on how your fulfillment is going. Are you dragging your feet? Are you doing good? So low churn, the better, obviously. And then the third one I look at is lifetime value. So I see, okay, where is the lifetime value at? Is it good? Is it bad? Do we need to bring this up more? And then after that, the fourth pulse or indicator I have is obviously how many calls I'm booking, close rate. So after I went to the Client Ascension event in Tampa, Dylan, he was like, bro, why aren't you tracking your close rate? So now I tracked it. So in January, I closed at 41%. And then in February, I closed at, it was somewhere in between 30 and 40. I still have to tally it up, but most of my stuff is inbound. That's why it's high. So yeah, calls booked, close rate. And then after that, I look at, how many YouTube videos posted, how many tweets. So one thing I'm slacking on, funny enough, I'm a YouTube agency, but I only posted 2 videos in January and I think 2 in February. I should be doing minimum 4. So working on that.
Yep.
And overall, looking at the inputs. But yeah, that's pretty much what I look at.
Love it, bro. I've got 2 or 3 more questions for you. The next question is going to be, so you got guys in Client Ascension, like I was saying, an issue that we're facing as a business. One of our big focuses is LTV and churn as well. And it's always so unfortunate because you get someone to go through the program, they're successful, they hop on one of these, and then they leave because they think that the job is finished, right? Like they hit 10K, their work is done. Obviously, that's not your mindset as you've stayed in the program all the way up until 93,000 a month. So what would you say to someone that is at the 15K mark that you're at last year when we were doing this? You did the success interview. Maybe at that time you felt like you were now officially a success story of Client Ascension. Your job is finished. What would you say to someone that has gone through that experience and is now feeling like it's pretty much time to go?
Yeah, so I would say there's always more stuff to implement. There's like an infinite amount of stuff to do to your business, and you really need that guiding person, someone who's going to tell you like, "Oh, hey, what is the problem in my business?" or "How do I hire this person?" You always need someone you could just text, right? And that's the good thing about Client Ascension. Like I text in my private channel, I like always get an answer super quick. So just having people there, I can just run something through. That is one huge benefit. So I would say to the people who are leaving after they hit their wildly important goal is just make a new goal and you can hit it again by staying in Client Ascension probably. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
Bro, literally, that's what I said. I was like, the wildly important goal. I set a new wildly important goal before I even hit that wildly important goal because I don't want to get there and then be like, oh, I'm here. Like, I already hit it. It's fine. Like, if I'm like 75, 80% of the way there, I push it way further back and I continue to push it back because you always need to have something to work towards. You can never be like done. As soon as you're done, you start dying as a business. And like I said, I could do case studies all day long with people who left Client Ascension and their business is tanked. Again, I don't know that there's anyone out there that would be willing to do that. But if I could get them on here, they would have to talk about how that happened. And it makes sense, right? Once you don't have a goalpost or something to work towards, it just starts to die. It's the classic saying, it's either you're growing or dying. You can't just stay flatline and you can't coast in business. It's just not a thing. It doesn't last. You've seen even the modules we have in Client Ascension about sales velocity. Like, even if you're selling a decent rate, your business is still dying if churn is outpacing sales, which is pretty common for an agency. You need to be outselling churn, which is not as simple as signing a client or two every single month. Like, that needs to increase, especially as your business size increases. So that becomes more and more of a focus point as you grow. It's not something that just goes away. It actually becomes a bigger issue. And so I think that's interesting. But I would say the other question I had for you, bro, is apparently we're making this a tradition. Every March or April, we'll have Ayman on the channel to just catch up and see what new record-breaking revenue level he reached. So where do you want to be at if you're painting the picture now next year around this time?
Yeah. So what I will say is by the end of this year, I'll be doing like 200 to 250K a month with the agency. And then, but you add extra 3 months to that for March, I guess I'll be doing like, call it 300 would be the goal for like next March with just the agency. And also, as of yesterday, I'm like testing like a little coaching program. So like maybe, I don't know how that's going to go or whatever, but the goal is to get that to 100K collected within the next 60 days. So we'll see how that goes, but we'll see what happens a year from now with that.
Yeah. I do happen to know 4 guys who have a coaching program that might be able to help answer some questions for you on that new
Awesome.
coaching program. Yeah. They run a program called Client Ascension, so they might have some answers for you on how to structure things. And yeah, they might actually also be available in your private channel in Client Ascension if you ever have a question and want to just shoot them a message in there. Awesome, bro. So last question I have for you, dude. As always, first off, appreciate your time. Congrats on all the success, dude. I'm beyond impressed. I don't even think I asked this yet, but how old are you again? Are you even 21 yet?
I'm 19.
19? You're not even 20? Bro, that's insane. That's
Yeah.
insane, dude. Yeah, so impressed, dude. So impressed. And so mature for your age, just in conversation, but also in business and wisdom. And dude, I wish there was like, I know Bitcoin is running hot right now, but like I wish there was like an Ayman coin that I could just pour all of my money into right now because that thing is
Yeah.
is going to skyrocket or continue to skyrocket. So, dude, keep crushing it. It's been awesome watching the growth and being a part of it and helping in whatever ways we can. But as a last question, as always, if you could just let the audience know where they can find you, follow you, and learn more about potentially working with you, that'd be great.
Yep. So my social media handle is the Ayman Arab on everything. It's probably going to be linked in the description. So that's Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. That's where I hang out the most. And that's pretty much it. So thank you so much, Andre, for having me. And thank you for helping me get to this level.
Absolutely, bro. Happy to be a small part of it. As I said, we have guys that have access to the same level of coaching, the same content, the same answers, and not all of them, not many of them get to levels that you've achieved. So you're an inspiration, not just to us as people that, created this community, but also to everyone that's going through it. I know a lot of guys that join and mention your name saying this is, you know, a goal I have is to be like Ayman and to reach similar revenues that he's reached. And so keep inspiring, bro. I'm happy to have you in there, not just to be able to coach you, but to also have you guiding the next wave of students that are joining. And yeah, dude, keep crushing it. I'm excited for when we have you back next year and we can play the tape back to see the revenue projections and how, you know, far past that you've probably gone at that point.
Yep. Looking forward to it in March, bro. Thank you so
Awesome, dude.
much.
Thanks so much again. Appreciate you, bro.